So I apologize for not starting this video when I began this project. I went ahead and installed an overhang. As you can see, this is the actual goat house, this is the overhang, and the objective is to have the food, or in this case the hay, moved back and forth from the fence line to the goat house, and this will provide the shelter for the hay so it doesn't get wet. So as you can see in front of me, I have a couple of pieces of pipe. This is plastic pipe. It's used for electrical. It's a pretty strong pipe compared to regular PVC. It's a little thicker. And as you can see, I have the pipe already installed running to and from the fence. Looking at the dimensions of this shelving, it's about 1 foot across and it's about 58 inches in length. So I'm going to make this about a foot wide, 1 foot tall, and about 26 inches in width. And I think that's going to make for pretty good dimensions for this goat feeder. Right at 26 inches to this first joint. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and mark this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this off using my bolt cutters. These bolt cutters make very quick work of cutting through steel. Okay, I just cut through that piece, move it on down. Well, instead of taking a measurement, all I have to do is just basically lay these two together, and I've got right where I need to cut. We're going to actually start combining the shelving and add some walls, and once we add the walls, then I'm going to go ahead and put the ends on. So the first thing I need to do is to make sure I've got the right overlap, and the second thing I'm going to do is go ahead and wire this thing together. Alright, I'm going to use some 17 gauge galvanized electric fence wire to use as a fastener for the shelving. When you're cutting this stuff, I'd recommend wearing eye protection or else hold one piece because it will fly around. So what I'm going to do is I have eye protection on, but I'm also going to just start holding the other piece so it doesn't take off and fly around. I've got my pieces of wire cut, and it helps to, when you go to put something together like this, it helps to go ahead and try to pre-bend some of this wire so you can wrap it around the connection points and sort of fold it across. It just makes it easier once you have, if it's put together like this, to take your pliers and then you can then go ahead and twist it. Alright, I'm going to keep twisting this and get a fairly snug connection. And then obviously I don't want this to be an object that could poke somebody. So what I'm going to do is take this end and try to bend it down and out of the way, just so it'll be out of the way and less likely to poke somebody if they reach in to empty out the feed. I'll just keep working around the material. I've got the sides put together, and as you can see, it's fairly solid. The next thing I'm going to do is add the ends on. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to actually just take some quick measurements, cut across, make my two sides, and wire them on. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side put together. I'm going to start on the top and work my way from one side to the other. Okay. The next step is to make some slots in this for the goat to eat. So what I'm going to do is use some dikes and just start cutting some. This is the back side, but you can see we've got access points for hay in the front, on the bottom, and on the sides. And this is going to be a pretty decent feeder, actually. It's got plenty of strength. I don't see the goat tearing this down. This looks like it's going to last a long time. You can also see it's got this coating on it, so it shouldn't rust too much. It's got galvanized wire. So this should last a few years and should provide some pretty good service. Okay, the next thing I did was I went ahead and cut off a couple pieces of PVC pipe. Now this pipe's a little bit larger than this pipe. It's actually going to slide right over top, and it'll serve as it's going to slide back and forth move the goat feeder back and forth from the fence to the goat house. So this is Mick, the name of our goat. This is our customer we're trying to take care of. So anyway, just wanted to introduce you to Mick. He's a male Nigerian dwarf. Again, that's a male Nigerian dwarf goat, and we've had him now for about 9 months. Been a real good goat. And my objective is to get this as tight as possible, so I'm going to add some tension, just pull some tension on this. Just try to take the pliers and just try to twist it a little bit tighter. Run this one through as well to the other side and back around. Okay. We're using some parachute cord. This is extra cord I just had laying around. You can use any type of rope. Ideally, you get some type of rope that doesn't expand too much with the weather, because in a minute you're going to see that we really want this rope to maintain a fairly consistent tension. So what we're going to do now is just find the center point of our feeder, which we have found. It's right at 13 inches. Then what we're going to do is just tie a quick knot. You may have to loosen this up later to adjust it. So not a big deal if you don't quite get it right. This is just for demonstration purposes. So that's good enough. Now what we're going to do is take this rope and we're going to run this on through a guide. So what I've done is I've created like a rope guide. I've went ahead and added this to the bottom, and I've also added one to the top. So what I'm going to do is just run my rope on up through the hole, both holes. And what this is going to do is actually serve as a way of moving this basket back and forth. And this is the goat house side. So as you can see, we have the rope attached to both ends of the feeder. We have one end running to the fence line. Now I could have used a pulley for this fence. The reason I did not was because the pulley would create too much distance between the fence and the feeder. It's just going to use up space, and really what I want is I want this feeder to get as close to the fence as possible, making it easy just to throw food in. And as you can see, this works pretty good. You know, you just basically pull on it and you see it slides. It takes a little bit of tension. Time to see if this feeder was a good idea, to see if it has some functionality. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some hay in the feeder. I'm going to pack this thing clear full so I don't have to mess around with hay the next 24 hours. Okay, packed in there nice and tight. Next thing is to see if this thing's going to slide. Let's see how this works. Nice, works very nice. Okay, let's see if I can get it to come back to me. Alright, takes very little effort, just 2 fingers, or actually, yeah, just a thumb and a finger, very little tension. One thing I might want to add in order to get this to slide, what I did was I added a little bit of car polish, because this plastic was recycled, it was old, it had a lot of outdoor exposure. So by adding a little bit of car polish, it fills in all the little cracks and crevices and just makes the surfaces, the 2 surfaces, really slick. So I just added some car polish to the outside of this gray pipe. And man, what a difference it made. I mean, I could just make this move. And as you can see, the goat's already getting into the hay. The goat's liking this setup. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up against the house and call it a day. Call it a project. Mission success.